Hello and welcome to Race 5 of the 2014 Sim Cup season. I'm Michael Taylor, owner of Taylor Motorsports, the worst team in Sim Cup, and today is the Husky Tools 400 at Atlanta, so I'm going to recap that for all of you guys watching, so like 10 people. Alright, starting grid, Carson Fitzpatrick on the pole, the rookie, uh, Kevin Richmond on the outside of him, Tommy Morello and Tim Bowen on row 2. Row 3, Daniel Alderson and Davis McAfee. McAfee's teammate Brendan Irons right behind him, and Matthew Barros. And Anthony Wick and Drew Tabulov round off the top 10. Row 6, Scott Unger and Jason Severn. Row 7, Zach Dorian and Patrick Cobb. Ricky Brackett and Jim Powers, last year's winner at Atlanta. And row 8, Row 9, the 9 car of Michael Adkins and Dylan Fisher. And row 10, Carl Flint and Reed Conway. Then 2 cars I haven't named yet. And row 11, Joey Wakowiak and Matt Sadici. The Husky Tools 400 at Atlanta was 325 laps, and it was a nice day. I would love to be in that weather because it's hot, rainy, and humid every day in Florida right now. But that was the starting lineup, and here is what happened. So the cars came down to take the green flag side by side. Fitzpatrick was battling Richmond until they got to turn 1 when he was able to inch ahead and settle into first place. So the green flag lasted for a while, lap 26. Fitzpatrick is leading the cars down the backstretch. You can see, 9 cars right in frame. This track, for some reason, allows really tight battles. So there's about 15 cars within 2 seconds early on in this race, and it luckily stayed that way for the entirety almost. So during green flag, lap 56, Drew Tabulov, Brendan Irons, and Carl Flint ducked down to the pit road. They were the first 3 cars on pit road during this green flag pit cycle. And coming out of pits, Carson Fitzpatrick in the 22 and Brendan Irons were able to take advantage of their fast pit stops and pull away to the lead. But eventually, the rest of the field caught them. On lap 102, you can see 11 cars within about a second. Fitzpatrick, Barros, and Irons were the front 3. And Kevin Richmond, our points leader, was all the way back in 11th. But he was able to move up because Anthony Wick retired due to a brake problem on lap 108. This is my team, Taylor Motorsports. So Anthony Wick finishes dead last for the second time this year, 2 DNFs. And believe me, Dylan Fisher also had a bad day. So pit stops happen again. Lap 117 was when Barros was coming out of the pits, and he had the quickest stop and was able to retain first place from Fitzpatrick, who had basically led the entire race before. Barros was able to pull away and then hit lap traffic. The Camouflage 6 car was holding up 3 cars behind him, and the leader was able to come up and start to pick cars off, but no one could get past the 6 car. So it pretty much was just throwing bait out there to the leaders and having those 3 unfortunate cars get them trapped behind the 6 car because passing isn't that easy on Atlanta in this game. So Barros was leading, and then lap 174, he ducked down to pit. Kevin Richmond took over the lead right in front of Carson Fitzpatrick, who was right behind those lap cars. But the 10 and 82 were the first cars to drop down and pit. And after the pit stops, Tim Bowen was able to lead some of his first laps of the year on 188. Then the pack caught up to Bowen as the 19 and 25 started to pull away, trying to escape their lapped fate. The 82, 87, 17, and 10 car, pretty much four of the dominant cars on the day, were leading. They were just trying to battle for position. You can see four cars within probably like zero point 0.3 seconds. So this was a pretty good battle. A lot of back and forth, I think, specifically with the 17 and 87. But yeah, so it was a lot of good battles, but not a lot of lead changes. Barros again leading the whole field in to pit on lap 231. On lap 233, Drew Tabulov, he spins and backs it into the wall, and he went a couple laps down. Pretty much his whole season has been crap other than the win and the opener, and that's unfortunate because I thought he would have a really good year. So the two-car spins takes him out of contention. He was running okay, I guess. Uh, Lap 255, a car that was actually in contention to win, the 87 car of Brendan Irons, he had a gearbox problem on lap 250. All right, moving on. Lap 270. The only caution of the day was brought out when Reed Conway and Patrick Cobb Jr. got together and hit the wall. This happened near the front, actually, as you can see Morello and Brackett right behind him. But this was a pretty bad crash. I think Cobb came up and took out Conway, and they both just hit the outside wall. That was able to bring out the first and only caution of the day. Lap 272, the last pit stops on the day, and under yellow, Barros led the field in for another round of pit stops. Coming out, the 0 car was the leader. The field went green, and lap 314, with 11 laps to go, Flint was leading the pack around, just trying to wind the race down, but there were definitely some moves to try to overtake the 0 car. With 8 laps to go, Richmond got alongside of Flint, but was not able to hold on, and he remained there until the last lap when Brackett almost took out McAfee. He slid up the track and took out McAfee, lost momentum, both of them slowed down, so it became a 2-car race to the finish line after going on to the backstretch. But Flint was able to hang on and beat Richmond at the line. Flint, this is his 3rd win of Sim Cup. He won at Sonoma and some other race last year. So this might be a good time for Flint to turn around his season. And he's the only car who made ground in points on Kevin Richmond, who had another spectacular day, and that's just amazing how well he's running. But here is the final results. Flint, Richmond, Brackett, Barros, and McAfee all really close. Michael Adkins in 6th, Dorian, Scott Unger, Tim Bowen, and Jim Powers were the top 10. Carson Fitzpatrick, the rookie, had a good run and finished 11th. He, I think, got the bonus points for the most laps led. Moving on to the next page, Tommy Morello, Daniel Alderson, they were 1.6 back, so 13 cars within 2 seconds, and it was a great finish, just a lot of battles going on. Then the cars that were just a few seconds ahead of the leaders there. Patrick Cobb Jr., 23.1 seconds behind the leader. Severn and Reed Conway also over 20. Drew Tabulov, he was 1 lap down after the crash, so his crash just really ruined his day. Then Fisher and Wakowiak, something happened and they ended up trapped 2 laps down. And Sadici was the last car running in 20th. And their two retirements, Brendan Irons and Anthony Wick. Bad days for both that really, really were positive at one point. And you hate to see drivers losing points on stupid things like that. Moving on to the driver standings, Richmond now has a 65-point lead and 120-point lead on third place. He's pulling away and definitely is the car to beat this year. McAfee, Dorian, Adkins, Flint the winner. Flint jumped a lot of positions, but he's still 145 points back. Wakowiak had a decent run, I think. Oh no, he didn't. He had a bad run, and he falls a few points. Brackett had a good run. Barros also had a good run. Alderson, our top rookie, he's 157 points back in ninth. Anthony Wick fell from 4th to 10th with his second DNF of the year. Then Severn is 3 points behind him. Moving on, Tommy Morello, 165, then Jim Powers, 166, and then a few gaps, and just those top probably like 3 through 13, really close, and then from 14 on back is very spaced out. Drew Tabulov, 178 points behind the leader. Then Unger, Fitzpatrick, Cobb, Bowen, Irons, Zedici, our champion last year, Reed Conway, and last, and certainly least, Dylan Fisher. He has 259 points. He has 1 top 10 in 5 races and 2 DNFs. So I really hope he turns his season around coming up next week. Team standings, Dumas Racing has a pretty big lead, now up to 47 points above Big Stuff Racing. Fletcher Autosport, and then North Star Motorsports right up there. KMI Racing, they're 5th, and then kind of a big drop off to Hardin, Irish Lads, Revolution, Creechin, Burmy Brothers, and last place Taylor Motorsports. They were 5th or 4th, something really high going into this week, and just another bad result causes me to be 202 points behind first place in team standings. So that's it for me. Where to find us, mock_sports on Twitter. There's a Facebook, and then you could subscribe to the YouTube link that this is being posted on. SimCupSeries.blogspot.com is our unofficial, well, actually it is our official website, just doesn't get updated a lot. Sorry about that. Yeah, please, if you like these videos, send them out. I'm going to try to promote more on Facebook and Twitter and everything. Next week, we will be at Talladega, and it is always fun racing there. Dylan Fisher, he won last year at Talladega, so hopefully my cars just dominate the entire day, even though I know it's pack racing, and they might be first with 5 laps to go and finish like 15th. So that's going to be fun. I can't wait to constantly be taking screenshots and exiting the game for you guys. So thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you Sunday. Have a good day.